All good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, and I'm very sorry, I didn't introduce myself. So my name's Gemma. I don't think I've met either of you lovely ladies before, but I am a team leader for Thermomix. I've been here for 10 years. I used to sell these Thermomixes, and we've progressed all the way up to the TM6 Thermomix. So I guess when you're looking at the TM6, the first thing that you notice is the screen. We do have a integrated touch screen with the TM6. On the front of the TM6, it has got your time, temperature, speed, exactly like with your TM31 where you used to press in your time, temperature, speed, okay? So everything that a TM31 used to be able to do or can do, the TM6 can do plus more. So if you're thinking of a recipe that was one that you used to do time, temperature, speed with in the TM31, we can guarantee that you can do exactly the same in the TM6. Now, that's kind of where the, I guess the similarities stop with the new one. So I think my favorite part of the new Thermomix is the integration and how well it is integrated with being able to connect online, but also within itself. So every time that there is an update or anything new that they come up with for Thermomix, it just does a software update and we have it on our screen. So a couple of examples of that. When you're on this screen, it's just time, temperature, speed. When we slide over to this screen, which you can't really see very well there tonight, it's a bit glary. And I don't think overhead's any better, is it, Wes?
No, it's not.
No, okay. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Over on this screen, we've got quite a few modes. Now, the modes, when we first got the TM6, all the modes weren't in there. So they've actually been added as we've gone along. And, you know, we've had the TM6 for 3 or 4 years now. So they've all been added as we've gone along. So in here we've got the scales. We've got a couple of other modes that will be familiar to you. So obviously the scales, the 31 could weigh. The 31 could weigh in 5 gram increments. So you'll know when you were pouring in to the TM31, you pour, and you might be like, you know, 20 or 30 grams over because it just went 5, 10, 15, 20 and it was over. Whereas your TM6 is 1 gram increments, and it's all the way up to 3 kilos. So your TM5 and TM31 only went to the 2 kilo mark. Not that you're ever putting 3 kilos in, but if you needed to use it to weigh something a little bit heavier, then you can do that. But the beauty is the 1 gram increment. So we can get very, very specific now with our weights. And that is really useful when you're doing really finicky thing like sugar work or anything that needs to be down to the gram. The other things that you will probably remember, oh, no, we don't want to do that. Get out of there. The other thing that you'll see is turbo. So, you know, giving it a blast of power, we've still got the ability to do that. And our dough mode. So all of our dough modes exactly the same. One way, rest, other way, rest, exactly the same. The new modes, we've got our chop mode, which in our chop mode, it basically just opens you up to a catalogue of different ingredients and gives you just the basics of how you would chop or process those. So for example, I'll go into chop and I might select, say, just trying to look for a good one, dark chocolate. So then if I go dark chocolate, because there's just so many ingredients there, there's apples, beef, breadcrumbs, cabbage, crushed ice, dark chocolate, coffee beans. But if I chose dark chocolate, it would have roughly chopped chocolate and then probably grated chocolate down to a fine powder. And then that will actually preset the speed that you need. So you don't have to remember any of those speeds or anything like that either with the chop mode. Now, there's lots of modes in there, but the pre-clean mode is probably one of our other favorites. And that is where once you finish cooking, put a little bit of water in there, maybe a drop of dish soap if you like, and you can go on to pre-clean and choose how dirty your bowl is, and it will actually go around to, say if you say that it's got, you know, some browning or whatever on the bottom, go around to browning, and it will actually heat up that base and swirl that water around, but whilst heating it up. So it's just like how if you burn something on you know, your fry pan or whatever, you might put water in it and let it bubble and to lift up any browning on your fry pan. It's exactly like that, but for your Thermomix bowl. So it really heats up and then spins around really quickly, and it can do all that while you're eating dinner. So you don't have to be near the Thermomix while it's doing its pre-clean. And then once the pre-clean's done, you can just give it a rinse and a wipe out and keep going, or you can chuck it in the dishwasher, you know, if you wanted to clean it for the rest of the day kind of thing. The other good thing about pre-clean is when we are doing that sugar work or anything like that, where there is like caramel or we can do honeycomb in the TM6, so that's where everything gets a real sticky mess, but you don't have to worry, you just put it in water, put it on pre-clean, and it just melts it all away as well. The other one that we've got in there is egg boil mode. So you used to be able to boil eggs in your TM31 in the basket. Now we actually can boil our eggs in the bowl of the Thermomix. So you can pop water in your bowl. You can pop up to 24 eggs in your bowl on top of each other, on top of the blades. Put it on egg boil mode, and you can choose exactly how you want your eggs cooked. So all the way from soft to hard. There's medium soft, medium, and medium hard, all the way around to hard. And you can select how you want them, and they come out perfect every time. It actually weighs and feels the temperature of the water, so it knows exactly how long to cook those eggs for to get them just how you want them in the egg boil mode. So that is a really, you don't think that that's very exciting being able to do boiled eggs, but it is very exciting being able to do medium soft boiled eggs that are completely dippable every time, and there's no need to set any timers or anything like that. What's some other good modes in here? So we've got our fermentation, slow cook, and sous vide. Now these are kind of, I grouped these ones together, and I probably shouldn't just group them all together, but these are our modes that are now, our TM6 is now able to cook for a long time. So our TM31 could only go up to the 60 minutes at a time. And there weren't really many recipes that required the whole 60 minutes anyway. But now that we've got our longer time recipes, we can ferment in our Thermomix. So if you're thinking yogurt or kimchi or any of those things that need to be kept at 37 to 42 degrees for a long time, the Thermomix can keep those at that precise temperature for 8-10 hours, however long you need to. The other ones in there are the slow cook and the sous vide mode. So the slow cook, obviously exactly what it says, it's a slow cooker. It's not like your traditional slow cook where you sort of chuck everything in and you know, leave it for the whole day. It is more like a slow cooked beef cheeks with red wine jus. So you do like a little bit of work, and it starts cooking, and then you could sort of come back, put your meat in, and then you leave it for maybe 4 or 5 hours on the slow cook mode, and then you might come back and take it out and do a little bit more. So it's still slow cooked, but it's not like chuck everything in and leave it for the whole day like you might do in a slow cooker. But there is some absolutely amazing, and they're more, the slow cook recipes are more like a restaurant quality slow cook rather than, you know, chuck everything in and pop a packet mix or something like that in like you might do with a slow cooker. These are really like, you know, twice cooked pork belly in the slow cooker, and it's just falling apart and it's just absolutely delicious. And our sous vide mode. So sous vide is another new sort of way of cooking for a lot of us, because that was one of the very first modes that got added to the TM6. And sous vide is cooking again for a long time, but it's cooking your protein. So mainly beef. Beef is probably the number one thing that is sous vide. But it's cooking that in a cryovac bag in a bath of water, which is obviously your bowl, and it's cooking it there for on a low temperature but for a long time. So you might do like some steak in a cryovac bag, and you might do it for 4 or 5 hours on 42 degrees, which makes a really beautiful medium rare steak. And then you get it out of the sous vide, and you don't have to, but then what we do is pan fry it on each side, and it's just the perfectly cooked steak in your Thermomix. So we didn't think we would ever be cooking steak in our Thermomix, but we now are sous videing, and we are sous videing, and again, I'll say restaurant quality. If you have a steak at a really good restaurant, chances are it has been sous vide. So that's where you're getting that perfect consistency of how well it's cooked, because it's not like cooking it on the barbecue and hoping for a medium rare or however you want it. It's actually precise because it's all about the temperature, and as you know, the Thermomix can keep that precise temperature, and it can now do that for a long time. So that's how we're getting those perfect cooked steaks as well with the sous vide mode. What else have we got? We've also got a couple of other modes there at the bottom that have got new attachments as well. So the things that don't come with the Thermomix TM6 is the blade cover peeler and the cutter. So they're two extra things that you can purchase if you like on top of the TM6. The grater is actually out of stock at the moment, but we do have an attachment now that sort of turns the Thermomix into like a food processor, so it will slice and grate on top of the Thermomix rather than the blades doing it. And we've got a blade cover peeler which goes on top of the blades, so exactly what it says in there on top of the blades like so. And of course you can see what that does. It covers up the blades, and that's what we're using for our sous videing, so that the bags aren't getting pierced by the blades or anything like that. But also a lot of our slow cook recipes ask you to put the blade cover in so that things aren't getting broken up by the blades. And this blade cover peeler also doubles as a peeler, so it will actually peel your potatoes and boiled eggs, anything that's a hard vegetable, it will peel. So it has sort of like little, sort of like a rough sort of, one side is a bit rough, and it just roughs it up and knocks all the skin off it. So it's a really good little addition to the Thermomix as well. So that's all the modes. I'll just take a breath. Actually, and it's not all the modes. There are a few others in there that I haven't mentioned, but I don't want to keep you here all night. But what I was saying before about the being integrated. So if you swipe the other way on the Thermomix screen, you actually have access straight into the COOKIDOO platform. So, oh, we've just got a bug. It's just floating. Where's a massive big butterfly has just come into the studio. So we might want to close the door so I don't get any more bugs in here, Wes. We slide over here, and we're now in the COOKIDOO platform where you can search straight for a recipe, or, you know, out of, I think, 90,000 recipes that are all in there and are searchable on your COOKIDOO platform. There is other ways to access your recipes, and I'll show you that in a second. But this is how easy it is to be connected to the internet. And there goes the bug. It's okay, Wes.
Oh, it's so annoying.
My child's here. He's gonna save me from the butterfly that is inside.
It's a moth.
It's a moth. It's a giant moth, but that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so when we go into, like I was saying, so when we go into our time, temperature, speed on our front screen of our Thermomix, we can go into what we call our week. So I'll explain a little bit more about that when we're looking at the other screens. But in our week, we can tell our Thermomix what we're cooking for a week or a month or however long we want through through doing a meal plan. Tonight, I've just shown it that we're just going to do one dish tonight, and that is the Chinese style chicken. And that then brings that recipe straight up because it knows that it's the one I want to cook tonight. Okay. Now, it also, if you had other recipes planned for the week, you would actually see all of them there as well. So the beauty of this is that you can actually plan out your meals, and we can connect with Woolworths and do the online shopping and all that kind of stuff. And we're all, at the moment, everybody is talking about reducing waste and also reducing our food costs, and doing the online shopping, and it doesn't have to be online shopping, but the actual meal planning is the number one way to save money with your food. So that's what we're all about at the moment. We've actually just partnered with Oz Harvest, who are all about preventing food wastage, and households are the number one cause of the most of the food waste in Australia. So we're very passionate about not wasting any food at Thermomix as well. So I'm going to click into my Chinese style chicken. Now, the recipe pops up on my screen. So I've got a nice big screen there. I've got a picture of what the recipe wants to look like. If you want to have a look at the ingredients and what's in this recipe, any tips or anything like that, you can press down and you can actually read the ingredients. You can go all the way down to the tips. Even the nutritional information is there. So you don't have to get your cookbook out. Okay, so it does come with the basic cookbook, but you don't have to get that out to cook. It's just all there on your screen, step by step, and you can click through it. So I'm going to hit start cooking, and we're going to get started on our Chinese style chicken dish tonight. And the first thing is that I'm going to put the simmering basket in. So you will notice that the simmering basket is now got a lid, so just a little bit safer. Just making sure that people don't overfill it is the main reason for that as well. And I'm going to pop my rice in, and hopefully you've cooked rice in your Thermomix before. So this is probably not teaching you anything new. Pop my rice in. And it wants me to rinse my rice, but I actually don't rinse it. I usually just rinse it in the bowl as we go. So I'll show you how I do that. So I'm going to pour my water in through my rice. Make sure if anybody's got a question, you pop that in the chat for me. We don't have any questions in the chat yet, Leslie. A little bit of salt in there. Excellent. And then we'll pop that on. And we're going to pop our lid on, and we're going to use our varoma for the veggies of our Chinese style chicken. So nice big varoma. I should mention that the bowl is 2.2 litres, which is 0.4 bigger than the 31. And the varoma is, I think, 0.6 bigger, but the varoma is a little bit fatter, or taller. I shouldn't say fatter, taller. What was that? Sorry, Wes? I'm not discriminating against it, no. Okay, so I'm putting some onion in there, and I didn't actually chop this up with my cutter, but I could have. I could have sliced my onion and sliced my carrots with the cutter, but I just did them by hand. And of course, like any Thermomix recipe, you could use whatever veggies you liked. This doesn't have to be these particular recipes, but as you can see, I'm just layering those up in my bowl, and I didn't have it. There was no nice broccoli, so I got some broccolini, which I'm just going to pop in the top there, and then I'm going to put my lid on. Now I'm going to leave my varoma tray out just for the time being, but I'll show you what I'm going to do with my rice. So as you can remember, I've got rice in here with some water. I'm just going to go all the way around, and I can just override it all the way around. Just all the way around to 9, just for a couple of seconds, and that actually washes that rice for me, so I don't have to go over to my thing and backwards and forwards. So we can just wash our rice like that. I'm now cooking my rice in here. The steam that's going to come off that is going to obviously start to cook my veggies in this recipe as well. The beauty of this recipe is that we've got our chicken, but we haven't added our chicken yet. We're going to actually cook our chicken on high heat, which is something that only the TM6 can do. And that's where we're actually going to sizzle that chicken and actually start to brown the chicken as well. So we'll see that in just a second. Now, Wesley, we got started and we didn't do the what's included page. So can you quickly just flick to the what's included page for me, please, mate? Thank you, darling. So now, with just the standard deal of the Thermomix, it is $2,579. As I said before, everything that you see here on the screen is included in the package, even including the basic cookbook. And I will show you the bits and pieces in a second as well. The only things that aren't included for the 2579 obviously is that cutter, which is not available at the moment anyway, and that blade cover peeler. But I'll tell you in a second how you can get your hands on one of those as well. So quickly, while that first step is happening, Wes, let's go to the COOKIDOO information, and I'll just explain this a little bit further because when I say COOKIDOO, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about, but that's not the case. No. So cookidoo.com.au is it's basically our Netflix, if you can think of Netflix, our Netflix for recipes. So this is where every single Thermomix recipe for the TM6 that's been made by Thermomix is stored, and it is accessible to you when you have your COOKIDOO subscription. Now, a COOKIDOO subscription is $69 for the whole year. I think it's my favourite $69 that I spend all year because it means that I don't have to buy any cookbooks or anything like that anymore. So as soon as a new cookbook comes out, I've got access to it. It's on my Thermomix. I don't have to and ah if I'm going to cook anything out of that recipe book, if I want to buy it or not. It's just all automatically in there, as well as, you know, having access to that library of thousands of recipes that are all triple tested Thermomix recipes. They're not ones that just anyone has uploaded. You might be familiar with our recipe community. It's not like that. These are all ones that are triple tested in our Thermomix kitchens and work every single time. So they're not, there's no risk in cooking anything that's on COOKIDOO. So if you just go to the next one, Lizzie. Thank you, darling. As you can see here, there's lots of different ways to navigate COOKIDOO, and it depends on what you're looking for. So we've got lots of different collections and different cookbooks that, like if you see there on the screen, the Festive Flavour cookbook is actually a full cookbook and it's on there on COOKIDOO. Whereas, you know, our Facebook Live collection might only be 15 or 20 recipes that they've just collated in that collection. The best thing is browsing through categories. So if you are, say, dairy-free, you can click on the dairy-free tag and bring up all the recipes that fall into that category, no matter what book they're in. So then you can kind of start collating recipes that just suit you and your way of eating. Another really good thing in COOKIDOO is that you can search by ingredient and what you've got in the fridge. So you could actually type in, you know, broccoli and chicken, and it will bring up every recipe that contains broccoli and chicken. So then you can get a good use of what you've got in your fridge already. The other good thing that when you're thinking about that is that you can also shop the specials when you're at Woolworths or wherever you buy your groceries. So if you are at Woolworths and you know, something obscure is on quick sale or on special or something, you can type it into the COOKIDOO and all the recipes that contain that ingredient will come up, and you'll know if you're going to use it or not, or if you're going to cook something like that or not in your Thermomix. So hop over to the next one. Thanks, Wes. Thank you. So this is what the meal plan looks like. So this is where I've made a meal plan of what I'm going to cook today and then for the rest of that week, and it plans out your meals for you like in this format. It then means that you can add these to your shopping list, and you can then go to your pantry and you can tick off out of the shopping list what you've already got, so that what you won't need to buy, and obviously you're left with the shopping list that you are required to buy. Now from there, you can then connect that to Woolworths online, and you can do your online shopping very easily with that app. Or you can send it as a text message to yourself or an email to yourself and have a shopping list that you could print off if you wanted to print it off, or have on your phone. Sometimes I just go even to Woolworths with the shopping list on my phone in the COOKIDOO app still, and I just tick it off in there. So it's a really good way of planning out your meals and making sure that you're not just buying stuff because you're at Woolworths and it's on sale, or making sure that you know what you're doing for the week. Reduces a bit of that mental stress in your week as well. So the next one, Wes, on COOKIDOO is in regards to COOKIDOO 3.0. So the latest addition to COOKIDOO, and this is a little bit like the TM6, COOKIDOO even keeps getting better. So if you'd have asked me when we first got the TM6, did I think that you'd ever be able to put your own recipes into your Thermomix, it would have been a big no way, that's never going to happen. But now we've actually got COOKIDOO 3.0, where you can actually create your very own Thermomix recipes, or you can modify a COOKIDOO recipe. So there you'll see Wesley's burgers, and the only thing that Wesley's done to that burger recipe is change it from having mince to actually making your own mince with mincing your own steak, which is how we prefer to do it. The benefit of doing that is that if I add that Wesley's burgers to my shopping list, instead of saying buy 500 grams of mince, it'll actually tell me 500 grams of steak for us to make mince out of. So I'm not accidentally buying something that we don't normally use or anything like that. And then you'll see there my scone recipe beside that, which is one that I've made up from complete scratch, and I've entered into the COOKIDOO platform, which is my scone recipe. The other thing that you can do here, if you are familiar with the recipe community, you can actually grab recipes from the recipe community and bring them over to your COOKIDOO as well, and have them as step-by-step on your Thermomix as well. And the latest thing that you can do, which is a brand new thing with COOKIDOO, is you can even share your collections with your friends. So if you made, you know, my favorite weeknight dinners or something like that, you can actually then share that collection with a friend who's got a Thermomix, and they'll be able to save that in their collections so that they can easily access those recipes that you've tried as well. And thank you very much, Wes. That's our COOKIDOO. We do a lesson with COOKIDOO every month for our Thermomix owners. So coming along to that, it's a Zoom call exactly like this, except I'm over at the desk, and we're talking about everything to do with COOKIDOO. So if you're having trouble with meal planning, if you're having trouble finding recipes, or finding inspiration of what to cook and all that kind of stuff, this is where we help our owners navigate COOKIDOO, because it is a bit of a minefield. There is, like I said, 90,000 recipes. A lot of them aren't in English, so I think we've got about 40,000 in English. But you know, if you do have another language, you can even search recipes that are in your native tongue, or you know, get a little bit adventurous and use Google Translate and make something really authentically, you know, from another country as well. So our COOKIDOO lessons are really fun. We always share our favourite COOKIDOO recipes with each other, so you get an idea of what everybody's cooking. And they're all different. Everybody's cooking something different in their Thermomix, which is really cool. I think that's all about COOKIDOO. Wes, did I miss anything, do you think? No? Excellent. And look at that. I've done this before once or twice, because I now have 20 seconds to go. If you want to come back to us, Wes, I've got 20 seconds to go. So there you go. I've got that spiel very down pat. But you can see here I've got a nice lot of steam coming out of there. My veggies are looking good. My rice is looking good. The Thermomix dings when it needs you, so you could obviously leave it completely unattended. And it tells me to stir my veggies. and it wants me to add my snow peas because it knows snow peas don't need quite as long as the hard vegetables. So I'm popping some snow peas in, and I'm going to pop them on there, and I'm going to keep going on that one. Now, Wes, if you just show me, please, the host reward screen. So, like I said before, we want everybody to have all the things for the Thermomix, but especially that blade cover peeler, because there's lots of recipes that do require, oh, I shouldn't say lots of recipes. Most of the time when you're cooking, you probably don't require it, but it'll just be those odd ones that are using the slow cook, or if you want to try sous videing and stuff like that, where you need the blade cover peeler. So as a Thermomix owner, we, or you guys have access to our host rewards. So either by contacting your consultant and booking a demonstration where you invite 2 people and your Thermomix consultant over to cook some stuff together, or you can even invite people on our online sessions. So we do these online demos every month. All you need to do is invite 2 friends along to our online demo, and you can have access to these items. So either at the discounted price, which you'll see there is the host price, so your blade cover peeler comes down to about $40, or for free if your friend decides that it is time for them to get a Thermomix. The other really good one on there, which sometimes is, well, it's only just been added because we've asked for it to be added for a lot of time, is our 12-month COOKIDOO subscription. So everybody needs the COOKIDOO subscription. We can get that down to $20 a year, which is very good value. I think $69 is good value, but 20 is even better. Or free, of course, if your friend decides to purchase the Thermomix. But you will see me using some of the other items. If you come back to me, Wesley, I'll just show the girls quickly the vacuum seal system. Now, our vacuum seal system, this size container is only available as a host reward. So this is what we call our lasagna dish, which is about the size of a lasagna dish, or a smallish lasagna dish. And this is new for us at the mix shop. So the vacuum seal system comes with a little Cryovac, or well, I say Cryovac, it's probably not the right word because I think Cryovac is actually a brand name, but a little vacuum seal wand, and these glass containers that have got click down lid and a nice seal there. And basically what we can do with this is we can pop our vacuum seal wand over the top, turn it on, and it sucks all of the air out of our containers. And what this does obviously is makes the contents of the container last a lot longer. It will also, if you're marinating meat, it will also help that marinating process along up to, I think, triple the time. So you can leave it in for a couple of hours and it's like you've left it in for 6 to 9 hours or something. So it's really handy. I've got my anything that goes off really easily, even in Tupperware containers. So I've got my almond meal. That's something that I always vacuum seal up to keep it really nice and fresh. As well as onion powder. Onion powder goes really hard in jars or Tupperware, so you can vacuum seal it as well, and stays fresher for a lot longer. Berries and stuff like that. Now I've got a fly. I tell you, it's all the wildlife's inside here tonight at Coffs Harbour. Berries and anything like that really goes off really quickly. The vacuum seal is great for that. So we also have, like I said, the little containers, and there's one that's in the middle of these as well. But obviously you only buy the wand once, and then it fits all of your containers. The other good thing in the vacuum seal system is that it also comes with some bags. So if you are going to sous vide in your TM6, you want to get those really good vacuum seal bags to cryovac your meat before you do your sous videing in your Thermomix as well. And in saying that, you can sous vide in a snap lock bag if you like, if you're happy with that. But I think it's a good idea to use the best quality plastic that you can get if you're going to be cooking in it. Now, the other things, and probably already have, are our thermoservers. So probably our old faithfuls. So our TM31s used to come with actually one a little bit littler than this. Used to come with one of these, and everybody needs a thermoserver in their life for this reason. So what I'm going to do now is follow my instructions. So I'm just hitting next, and it's going to tell me to place my veggies aside. So they're all done. Oh, I'm looking lovely. Now I'm going to grab my rice out. So I'm just going to get my spatula, where's my spatula? There we go. I'm going to get my spatula out, and we can still pick up our simmering basket with the back of our trusty spatula. And I'm going to put my rice into my thermoserver, like so. Perfect rice every time. A little bit of a stir, but we're all ready to go there, and pop our lid on. And as you probably know, that then will keep our food hot or cold for 2 hours. And that's all good. And then we're going to transfer our veggies into our other thermoserver. So both of our thermoservers, oval and round, are both on that host reward list now as well. So we're going to chuck all our yummy veggies in there. Now this is where the fun starts with the TM6. So I'm going to put my veggies aside. Are you talking to me, Wesley, or you're talking to the dog? Excellent. Rightio. So I'm going to discard my water. So if you ever had a concern about, or you weren't going to cook your rice in the basket, I think that this water full of starch that I've just poured that all over the bench. The water that's full of starch that then gets thrown out, it is definitely the best way to cook your rice because it's so much fluffier and lovely when you do it that way. Okay, so I've transferred all of that out. We're back to a nice clean bowl. I'm not going to wash it or anything like that. I'm going to discard the liquid. Now I'm going to continue, and now we're going to do our chicken to go on our veggies. So a bit of oil. Again, that scales are going up by 1 gram at a time. So really, really sensitive scales. And we're going to pop in our chicken. I'm just going to try and plop that in without touching anything. Excellent. And then we're going to high heat that. Now, you won't have heard your Thermomix do this. So we're high heating for 5 minutes, okay? So in about 20 seconds, I'll pop my microphone in there so you can hear what's happening in there. But this Thermomix will actually, on high heat, will get up to 160 to 170 degrees, and it will actually sizzle that oil and that chicken to cook it. So it's not stewing like the TM31 might have done. It is really, it's already doing it. Let me show you. Can you hear that? Hopefully you can hear that. Can you hear that, Wes? Oh, you can. Excellent. Okay, so we are now sizzling with, you know, like I said, we're 20 seconds in and we're sizzling. So it gets really hot really quickly. And that chicken, we've got 300 grams of chicken in this recipe, and it will be cooked in 5 minutes, okay? And completely hands-free, okay? And like you know, we don't have to be here while the Thermomix is doing that. Now, some of the other things, points to talk about when doing something, comparing the TM31 over to the TM6. Obviously, the design changed. So with the TM31, obviously this lid wasn't locked on. As you can see, this lid, while it's cooking, this lid you cannot get off. So our safety with the TM6 definitely has increased, and you cannot get the lid off while you're cooking. The TM31, obviously, your lid is on and off. It should be locked on while it's cooking, but you know, it's easy to get off. our MC has changed as well. So obviously with the TM31, the MC was just a piece of plastic, and it actually wasn't BPA free. We're all completely BPA free now, and our MC has changed so that it actually locks into place, which I'll show you on my other bowl here, my other lid. Is you can actually put your MC on, and then you can take your lid off and on. Sorry, I'm shaking because my children are running around upstairs. You can take your lid on and off, and your MC doesn't fall out. Okay, so that I don't know how many times you've thrown your MC across the room, but if I ever go to use a TM5 now, my mum's got a TM5. If I go to use her TM5, I throw the MC across the room because I don't have to get mine out anymore, which is very handy. The other, one of the other really good points that one of the girls was telling me yesterday that I almost forgot that we couldn't do in the TM31 is we can weigh our next ingredient while our Thermomix is on. So we can actually go across to the scales while it's on. We can put a plate or something on top, tear it off, and we can be weighing our veggies for the next step or whatever else while it's cooking as well. Again, we can also be looking through COOKIDOO. We can pretty much be doing anything on our screen while it's cooking as well. So you can have a look at what you've got on the meal plan for tomorrow night while you've got your 5 minutes of your chicken cooking if you really wanted to as well. Any questions? Feel free to come off mute and ask me questions or pop them in the chat. I can't see the chat. Are we still good in the chat? Nothing in the chat. Excellent. I must be covering everything. It's always good when there's no questions, but then it's also, I hope that...
I've got a question.
Yes, question. Yes.
I'm not really interested in all the COOKIDOO and everything. Like, if you upgrade it, can you use it more manually?
Yeah, you don't have to...
I'm not really keen. I like to do my own recipes.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly, Christine, why I start with prefacing that you can do the time, temperature, speed exactly like you could do in the 31, because I've got lots of 31 owners that love still being in control of that time, temperature, speed, and they like following a recipe and all of that. So that's exactly why that's the first thing I say, because I sometimes get so carried away with what the TM6 can do. People think that it can't just cook manually, but you 100% can cook manually if you like in it. Yeah. The only time I should preface that with, yes, you can cook manually. The only time you need to be in a recipe is to access the high heat, but there is ways of doing that if you've got your own, if you've made your own recipe or you've thought up a recipe where you want it to be to get to the maximum heat. You can easily just go into a recipe and use that function as well. So here's our chicken cooked, which I can't really show you without pouring the chicken all over the place because our overhead camera is not working very well tonight. But I'm going to pop that onto my veggies. But yeah, does that answer your question on that one, Christine? I hope. You definitely can.
I'm adding you to Zoom. Yeah, no, I'm just not really interested in being so. I mean, I'm very creative in my cooking. I'd rather do my own.
Do you? Yeah. And you might even find that you like to tweak. Like if you go into a COOKIDOO recipe, you might find that you often tweak the recipe anyway. And that's where you can actually then save those tweaks as well in your recipe as well, so that, you know, if you did want to go back into the recipe, it can actually be your version of that recipe as well, which is, like I said before, I didn't think we were ever going to be able to do that, and now we can. So yeah, but definitely, you know, I've got lots of chefs that use the Thermomix. They never go into a recipe, so. Now I'm going to make the sauce. So I've put my chicken and my veggies in my thermo server, And I'm going to make my sauce now. So I've got a little bit of cooking liquid, bit of oil in there from leftover because I grabbed that chicken out with the tongs. And now I'm going in with a piece of ginger. And it's meant to be 2 garlic cloves, but I'm putting in 4 because, you know, a little bit extra garlic's all good. And then we pop our lid on and we give that a good blitz up for 8 seconds. Okay, and then we'll just put our other ingredients in there. And I'm just going to give that a scrape down. And some soy sauce. So we've still got tear on our scales to take it back to 0. That hasn't changed. This soy sauce is coming out like slower than a wet wheat, but that's all right. We've had a new addition to our family, and for the first time ever, we've got a dog, and it thinks that it would like to be an inside dog tonight, and it definitely is not an inside dog. A little bit of honey. I'm going to pour the honey in so I don't dirty another spoon. She sees the fly, does she, Wes? She loves flies. Oh dear. They say don't work with animals and children, and I've got the animals and the children tonight, so I must be a glutton for punishment, I reckon. Some rice wine vinegar. This is a yummy sort of glaze that goes over this chicken and veggies. And some corn flour, which I will dirty a spoon for. Oh, 3 teaspoons. That's probably too much corn flour, but that's okay. A little bit extra is okay. Rightio, then we are going to pop that on, and we're going to now stir that and cook. So again, that precise temperature, it's going to take that sauce up to the 100 degrees, and it's going to be constantly stirring that sauce so it's ready for our veggies and our rice. Rightio, any other questions? Hannah, have you got any questions for me, love?
No questions. I'm pretty new to the Thermomix.
Yep.
I got gifted one
Oh,
from my mother-in-law because she got the TM6, so she gave me her TM5.
Oh, wow. Isn't that
So I just don't know how to use it. I use it as a blender.
Oh, okay. Well, look, it's a great blender, but there is lots more
Yes,
to the
I can see that.
Thermomix than just blending. Yes.
Yeah.
But you've come
No,
to
it's
the
good.
right place because that's just, you know, you can come along to our demos and stuff, and every time you come, you'll learn something new.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. Excellent.
Awesome.
And there's lots of videos and stuff as well.
Yeah.
When I'll send everybody who asks for the recording and stuff, I'll send them an email probably tomorrow morning. And I'll also put a link there to my YouTube channel, which has got lots of your basic things that you can do in the Thermomix, little videos, like the little short videos of just the basic things that sometimes people forget. Yeah. You don't have to do an elaborate whole multi-stacked meal in the Thermomix. It might be just steaming your veggies, you know, and making mashed potato or pizza dough, or I don't know, spreadable butter is one of my basic ones. You know, just the really basic stuff that pretty much everybody uses as well.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, hopefully that helps you.
Thanks.
No worries. So these are piping hot. And you want to make sure you got a couple of thermoservers too, Hannah. So make sure that you is Ruth your consultant?
Kat.
Oh, Kat's
yes.
your consultant. Excellent. In Bellingen.
Yes.
Excellent. Rightio. We'll get on to Kat and tell her that you want some thermoservers. Rightio.
Okay.
So now here's our sauce for our that now. for our chicken and our veg. And I just pour this over the whole thing, and I'm going to stir that in a second. But there we go. So that is our complete layered meal done. I'm just, like I said, I'll just give that a little bit of a stir through so that sauce touches all of the veggies. But there's our chicken and our veggies in our oval thermoserver. So you can see how much this one makes quite a lot of food too. And then we've also got our whole thermoserver of the boiled rice as well. Actually, boiled rice is one of the really good videos on the YouTube channel as well. So make sure you watch that one. I'll put a link for that one as well, because you'll have your best ever boiled rice is in the Thermomix, I say. Anyway, so that is our complete layered meal. That is our look at the TM6 through our TM31 owner's eyes. Hopefully that has been informative for you. Now, from time to time we do trade up offers for our TM31 owners, and I will tell you a little bit about the offer that's happening at the moment. We'll say goodbye to the recording, Wes.
Yeah.
Thank you.